Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to this beginner's live stream session where today we're looking at responder's bid of one no trump. So basically when your partner opens the bidding and you bid one no trump, what exactly are you describing? Or alternatively, when your partner bids one no trump, what are they describing to you? So let's get into it and get started. Now, the first thing that happens is that when you're a weak responder, so you've got 6 to 9 points, if your partner opens the bidding, you must make a bid, unless the opponents interfere, of course. So you absolutely must make a bid on your hand when you've got 6 or more points, but we get confined by the fact that if we've got less than 10 points, we can't actually call a suit at the 2 level. So if my partner opens and I don't have 10 points, I can only make a bid at the 1 level. Now, what happens here is that my first priority should always be that I want to raise my partner if I do have a fit with them, so I know we've got 8 cards together. My second priority is that I want to tell them about a 4-card suit that I have, or a longer one, but 4 or more cards in a suit. And to do this, I can simply bid the suit at the 1 level. But as the responder, we run into problems, and our problems are when we've only got 6 to 9 points and we don't have a suit that we can bid at the 1 level. With those sorts of hands, you absolutely must respond one no trump. You can't bid a suit at the 2 level. So let's take a look at this one here, and I'll show you the differences. Let's say that my partner started off with 1 club and the bidding came around to me. What I could do is I could definitely bid 1 heart here. I've picked my longest suit and I'm able to bid it at the 1 level. So I'm just showing my partner that I've got 6 or more points and I'm promising that I've got 4 or more hearts. So my partner should raise me if they have 4 hearts. And our bidding would continue on from there. On the other hand, we run into some problems when, for instance, my partner opened 1 spade. Now here, if the bidding came around to me, what would happen is that I'd have the problem that I've got 6 or more points, I've got 7, so I absolutely must make a bid. And as it so happens, I do have a bid that I can make. I can raise them in spades. Now, sometimes you might end up with a problem though. Let's say that I only had 2 spades in my hand, so I didn't have a 3rd spade. I wouldn't know that we had a fit together. But I can't actually bid my heart suit. I'd have to bid one no trump on a hand like that. Let's have a look at another one. Okay, so this time, if it started off with our partner bidding something like 1 club, again, what we can do is we can actually here bid our 4-card suits up the line. I've got 6 or more points and I can introduce my hearts for partner. So what I'd do is I'd start off with 1 heart, and if it came back to my partner and they raised me in hearts, I'd be really happy. If not, maybe they're going to bid some spades, or what they might do is say, for instance, bid no trumps. Now I'm going to make things a little more difficult for us, where what I'm going to do is give us some of these problem hands that you often encounter, and we'll have a look at how the bidding changes with these problem hands. Okay, so let's see how we go this time. Alright, so here, let's see this one. Now, if my partner opened 1 club or 1 diamond, I'd be in an okay position, because when they open with a minor suit, I know they have to have 3 cards in the suit. And with my 6 or more points, I'd be guaranteed a fit with them because I have 5 cards in their suit. So what I could do is I could actually raise their clubs, or their diamonds if they open diamonds. On the other hand, if my partner actually opens something like 1 heart or 1 spade, this is where I'd end up with a lot of problems. I've got 6 or more points, so I absolutely must take a bid. But I can't bid either of my 5-card suits because I need to have 10 or more points. And to introduce clubs or diamonds, I absolutely need to have those 10 points, and it must be at the 2 level because the 1 level's no longer available. In this situation, what I have to do is I have to actually respond with 1 no trump. Oh, sorry, not there. We needed the pass first. I must respond with 1 no trump. Now, this ends up giving us some problems, and what I want to do is have a look at just some options and figure out what we know about the 1 no trump response. So what we'll do is we'll just have a look at the bidding for now. So what I want you to do, let's see if we can just bring up the bidding for us. Okay, so here we are. We're just going to be looking at some bidding, and we're going to figure out what we can deduce from different auctions. So let's say that we actually had a 1 spade opening and the responder bid 1 no trump. What would we know about their hand now? Well, we know they absolutely have 6 to 9 points, and we know that they're denying 3 or more spades. So they've got 0 to 2 spades. The problem is we don't actually know absolutely anything about the rest of their hand. All we know is that they don't have 3 spades, but they do have 6 to 9 points. Their problem would be is that if they had a 5 or a 6 or even a 7 card suit, if they wanted to bid the suit, they needed to have 10 or more points. And with 6 to 9, they can't do this. Let's have a look at another one. This time, let's say the auction started off with 1 heart, and then it went a 1 no trump response. Here, we've actually got even more information. So when partner bid 1 no trump, they denied having 3 hearts. But what also happened was that they denied having 4 spades as well. Because if they had 4 spades, they could have bid 1 spade over 1 heart. So this time we get even more information. We know that our 1 no trump bidder doesn't have 3 hearts, and they also don't have 4 spades, because they could have introduced a 4-card spade suit. Let's have a look at another one, and we start to get even more information. So let's say that it went 1 diamond, pass, and then a 1 no trump bid by responder. This time, our opening bidder has even more information. We know partner's got 6 to 9 points, but we also know what they've denied. They've denied the ability to bid 1 heart or bid 1 spade. It means that they can't have 4 hearts or 4 spades, or in theory that they've got a maximum of 6 cards in the major suits. That actually leaves them with at least 7 cards between diamonds and clubs, just by deductions. Now, the other thing that we know is that they won't have a fit for us in diamonds. Now, some people might raise 1 diamond to 2 diamonds with just a 4-card suit. A lot of people say that you need a 5-card suit though. So what our 1 no trump bidder is also denying is the ability to raise 1 diamond to 2 diamonds, and depending on your style, this means that they're promising at most 4 cards in diamonds. So when we know that responder has at most 3 cards in spades, at most 3 cards in hearts, and at most 4 cards in diamonds, it means they must be marked with at least 3 cards in clubs. If they didn't have that hand, they would have been able to do something else, like bid a heart or a spade, or potentially even raise diamonds. Now, the most interesting auction is when it goes 1 club by the opener, and then it goes 1 no trump by responder. Now, this auction's a very, very descriptive one, because we get to know a lot about responder's hand based on what they didn't do. So here, our responder did not bid 1 heart, they did not bid 1 spade, and they did not bid 1 diamond. They also did not raise clubs. Now, when we put these parameters together, we can actually mark out quite a lot of their hand shape. They have to have 6 to 9 points, and they've got at most 3 spades, at most 3 hearts, at most 3 diamonds, and they don't have 4 clubs. Can you actually determine the configuration of their hand that actually fits that category? There's only one possible distribution of the cards. Now that's when they happen to have 3 cards in spades, 3 cards in hearts, 3 in diamonds, and 4 in clubs. If you actually moved any card to any other suit, they would have been able to do something different. If we moved a card into hearts, diamonds, or spades, they'd be able to bid 1 heart or 1 diamond or 1 spade. If we gave them a 5th club, they would have actually been able to raise 1 club to 2 clubs. So what we can determine is that what's actually more important is what our responder has skipped over when they actually call 1 no trump. In a situation where we have a 1 club opening and then responder bids 1 no trump, they've skipped over so many different options that they could have had, and as a result we know quite a lot about their hand. On the other hand, if we have a 1 spade opening and then our responder bids 1 no trump, they haven't had the ability to really bid any suits. They couldn't bid any suit above 1 spade. They just have to bid 1 no trump every time they've got 6 to 9 points and they don't have a fit in spades. So they've only got 2 cards in spades or less. So the question is, why do we have to do this? Why do we need to be able to have this 1 no trump bid just to say I've got 6 to 9 points and I can't actually bid any suit or raise you partner? Now what it comes down to is that if we were to introduce a new suit at the 2 level, say something like 2 diamonds or 2 hearts or 2 clubs, what happens is that our bid is forcing our partner to keep on going. So what would happen is that the opener has to come back and say something. They might say 2 no trumps if they were a balanced hand, or they might do something like repeat their suit. And they might only have 6 of them here. On an off day, they could only have 5. Now, the problem with this is that if we don't have 10 or more points for our what's called a 2/1 bid, where opener bids 1 of a suit and our responder bids 2 of a different suit, the problem is we can easily get too high. Now, the most difficult one would be something like this, where our openers bid 2 no trumps at their second opportunity. Now, this would only promise that they've got 12 to 14 points. But the problem is, if our responder only has 6 points, they're going to be in a situation where they're playing in a 2 no trump contract and they don't even have half of the points in the 2 hands. And this is why we actually say you need 10 or more points if you're going to introduce a new suit at the 2 level. Basically what it's doing is it's stopping us from getting too high in the auction when we don't have enough points to get to that contract. The other thing that it's doing is it's straight away setting a lower limit on your hand so that opener can, better assess where the partnership's going to go at that stage, even though their job will be to bid a new suit or potentially no trumps or rebid their suit. So this is why we can't bid a new suit at the 2 level when we don't have 10 or more points. We have the problem that the auction's going to get too high. So we know we must bid 1 no trump when we've only got 6 to 9 as our responder. But now we need to be able to solve the problems of what ends up happening with these hands that do bid 1 no trump, and how to cope with it as the opener, and also how to cope with it later on if we are the responder. Now, the first thing that happens is that when it comes back to our 1 spade opener or our opening bidder, their job's to just continue to describe their hand if they've got an unbalanced hand. So when they're unbalanced, what their job would be is they've already shown 1 long suit. They now want to describe further how their hand looks. Are they 1 suited or are they 2 suited? And what would happen now is our opener would do something like 2 spades to say they're just a weak hand with 1 long spade suit, or do something like, for instance, 2 diamonds to say that they had 5 spades or 4 diamonds. Now, the interesting thing here is that some partnerships would play this 2 diamond bid as forcing and some partnerships wouldn't. And that's going to be a style difference based on what you have been taught. And I'd check with your bridge teacher about whether or not you've been taught that this is forcing or it's non-forcing. And both styles are completely fine. It just matters because you need to know if you have to keep bidding as the responder. So here our opener would have said they've got 5 spades, 4 diamonds, and some people would play that this is forcing, some people would play that it's not. Their other option, if they were a balanced hand, what they want to do now is assess the partnership's points together. Now, what would happen is that our opening bidder would be able to add partners' points. So they'd be able to add what's our minimum together if my partner only has 6, and what's our maximum together if my partner only has 9 or has 9. So what will happen most of the time if they are balanced, they're going to fit into maybe a 12 to 14 category or in the 18-19. And here they can go and assess the points together. So if I was the opener and I knew that my partnership and I only actually had our 12 to 14 for me and 6 to 9 with responder, I'd know the maximum we're going to have together is my 14 and my partner's 9. So that'd be only 23 points. And I wouldn't want to keep the bidding going. I just want to pass. My job at this stage is to describe my hand and if I think the partnership's got a potential for gain. So that's what I'd do here if I was the opener. If I happened to be maybe 18-19 balanced, I could even jump to 3 no trumps. And that's because I'd know if I had 19 with my partner 6, we're going to have at least 25 together. So 3 no trumps is going to be the place to be. So this is what our opener does. If they're balanced, they assess the partnership's points together. If they're unbalanced, they're going to continue to describe their hand, and they'll basically rebid their own suit or bid a second suit most of the time. Now is where it gets a little bit tricky. What happens when we have our responder make their next bid? So let's say that it went something like 2 diamonds and it comes back to our responder. Now, the first thing that happens is that responder's job is going to be either to tell their partner they prefer one of the suits, or to bid their own suit. Now, how many in a suit do you think our responder would need if they were going to introduce a new suit here? Now remember, when they bid one no trump, they weren't saying anything about how long any suits were except for spades. When they bid one no trump, they said, I don't have 3 spades, I do have 6 to 9 points, but that's all they've described. They could have a 6, a 7, and 8 card suit somewhere else. So how do we know what they're going to need to introduce a new suit? Now, the way to look at it is, what has our opener shown? And our opener, by bidding 1 spade and then 2 diamonds, has said they've got 5 spades in their hand and they've got 4 diamonds as well. Another way of thinking about this is that they've described 9 out of the 13 cards that they hold in their hand. So they've got 5 spades and they've also got 4 diamonds. That only leaves 4 cards at most between hearts and also clubs. Now, based on this, what we say is that our responder is at least going to need a 6 card suit if they're going to bid a new suit here. And that's because the odds of partner having 3 of them are so low because they've only got a maximum of 4 cards in the other 2 suits. So if I were to bid something like 2 hearts here, as a responder, it would be saying to my partner, look, I only had those 6 to 9 points, but I do happen to have 6 cards in hearts for you. And you need 6 because remember, your partner's already said 9 of their cards are located between spades and diamonds. So there's not a big chance of them having 3 card support if you do have a 5 card suit. Now, the interesting part is, why would this bid not be forcing? A new suit's generally forcing, but here, responder actually is making a non-forcing bid. How can we determine that this would be non-forcing? It comes down to what they did first. So they actually bid 1 no trump the first time, and then they bid 2 hearts. Now, the benefit of doing this is when they bid 1 no trump, they had limited their hand to 6 to 9 points. Our opening bidder absolutely knows that they've only got 6 to 9. If they had 10 or more, they would have actually been able to bid 2 hearts the first time. So when responder then introduces a suit, they're saying, look, I've got a weak hand, I've only got 6 to 9 points, but I do have a lot of hearts for you, partner. And that's what it means if we bid 1 no trump the first time and then we bid a new suit. Now, what would also happen if you didn't have your own long suit? It'd basically be our responder's job to tell opener which of the suits that they prefer. Most of the time this is going to end up in you bidding something like 2 spades. Now, how many spades do you think this would show your partner? Generally, it's basically going to end up as 2. So opener would here know that you can't have 3 spades possibly, and that's because if you had 3 spades, you would have raised 1 spade to 2 spades as our responder. So when you bid 1 no trump, what happened was you denied having that fit with them. So it means that you only need 2 spades to go back to spades later on in the auction. And what this would be your way of saying to your partner is, I don't have 4 diamonds for you, I don't have my own 6 card suit that I can bid, and I'm just giving you what's called a preference bid back to your spades. I've only got 2 of them. Depending on how strong our opener was then, they might keep on bidding. Alternatively, they can just pass this as well. And if they're just a weak hand, even if they've only got 5 spades, this is going to be the best option for them. They know they're only going to be playing in a 5-2 fit, but bidding 2 no trumps or something like that is just going to dig the hole even deeper and make us play in a more difficult contract. Don't bid 2 no trumps unless you're trying to invite your partner to game. What you'd want to do is just play in the 5-2 fit. Believe me, it's not the end of the world if you play in a 5-2 fit, and basically be able to put the brakes on the auctions so that we don't get too high. So that's what our opener would do if they just had a weak hand. Now, if our responder did have a fit in diamonds, so 4 or more diamonds, what they could do is they could raise diamonds. Partner, I had 6 to 9 points when I bid 1 no trump, and now I've got 6 to 9 points still, but I do have 4 diamonds for you. Now, don't be worried that here our responder is bidding at the 3 level, and it's not a 3 level bid which would normally show 10 to 12. The reason for that is that we bid 1 no trump the first time, so you're already limited to 6 to 9 points, and all you're doing is simply raising 2 diamonds to 3 diamonds. It's the lowest level that you could actually bid diamonds. So it's not promising any extra points or anything like that. You're still limited to just a 6 to 9 hand. What we might do now is have a look at some hands and see how we go with bidding them. Do feel free to ask any questions at this stage if you do have any, because I'm sure it's not the easiest topic to digest. So what we're going to do is bid some hands and see how we go here. So what we're going to look at now, and I'm going to go through the auction in a couple of different ways, and we'll see how the auction should go. Now, if your partner opened with a bid of 1 club, what would your bid be as your first bid? Now, this is going to be where we bid 1 diamond. We've got 4 or more diamonds. We're promising 6 or more points. We could have plenty of points. We could only have 6 as well, and we could only have 4 diamonds, or like today, we could have 6 diamonds as well. We're just promising the absolute minimums. Partner, I've got 6 or more points, and I have 4 or more diamonds. Then let's say our partner did something like 1 spade. What would be your next bid here? Now, most of the time what you're going to do is rebid your 6 card suit at the 2 level. So this would be, partner, I've got 6 to 9 points, and I also have 6 diamonds for you. Now let's backtrack and see what would happen in this auction if we did something a little bit different. Let's say that partner actually opened with a bid of 1 spade. Now what would happen to your hand, and what should your bid be? Well, the first thing we want to do is consider, do I have enough points to bid? And yes, I do. I do have 6. Do I have the 10 points needed to bid at the 2 level? No, I don't. So what I'm going to have to do is find a bid at the 1 level that I can make. And the only bid left is going to be 1 no trump. Now let's say that our partner came back and passed. How would we feel then? Well, we didn't have much option in the matter. Partners passed, they're most likely going to be balanced, and we're just stuck playing in 1 no trump. It is possible that we have missed out on a diamond fit, and it would be a little bit of a shame, but it's where the contract's going to end. We had to describe our hand, and partners elected to pass. That'll normally mean that they don't have another long suit to bid. They are probably balanced, and what you'll be hoping is that you can get your tricks in diamonds playing in a no trump contract anyway. On the other hand, let's say our partner bids something like 2 clubs. So this would be their way of describing that they've got 5 spades and also 4 clubs. What we could do now is we could actually bid 2 diamonds here. And this would be our way of saying to our partner, look, I only had 6 to 9 points to bid 1 no trump, but I do actually have a 6 card suit in diamonds for you. Now, a key thing to remember here is that you needed to have 6 cards, and that's because our openers promised 5 in spades, 4 in clubs, so they're not very likely to have too many diamonds for us, because 9 out of their 13 cards are located in the black suits. So what we'd have to have is a 6 card suit here, and don't worry, it's only promising 6 to 9 points at this stage because you bid your 1 no trump first. If you actually bid something like 2 diamonds the first time, that's where it would promise 10 points, and that's what's going to be the difference. When it comes back around to our opener, a lot of the time if they're a weak hand, they're just simply going to pass there. And that's because they know that you've got 6 of them in a weak hand. If they've got 1 or 2 of them, they're most likely to just pass you out there. Otherwise, any new suit that they bid would be forcing, or they might rebid their own suit. If you play 4th suit forcing, that would also apply here, but only if your partnerships discuss that. Does that mean you cannot repeat your diamonds if you only have 5? Now, a lot of the time what ends up happening when you're a responder, you'll normally only repeat your own suit if you've got 6 of them. There are times that you can repeat your suit if you've only got 5, and they're the situations where your partner says that they're actually balanced. And I'll just quickly run through that. It's digressing a little bit, but it's a good thing to understand why. So what we're talking about is back to where 1 club was opened and we bid 1 diamond with this hand, and now our partner bids something like a heart or a spade. Now, what I do here is that if I had 6 diamonds, I'd definitely repeat them, but I wouldn't repeat them if I only had 5, and that's because the chances of my partner having 3 diamonds when they've already bid 2 different suits are going to be quite low. On the other hand, if my partner actually came back and said 1 no trump, what happens here is that I know that they're balanced. Whenever the opening bidder bids 1 no trump, they have to be balanced. The responder, as we've been able to figure out, doesn't have to be balanced. So when our opener bids one no trump and we know that they're balanced, what it means is that they're going to have at least 2 cards in diamonds, but actually more often than not they will have 3 cards. So what I do here, if I knew my partner was balanced, I can repeat a 5-card suit. If I don't know that my partner's balanced, then I have to have 6 cards to repeat it. It's a good rule to have. I know it seems funny that sometimes you can do one and sometimes you can't, but it comes back to what we know about our partner's hand. When we know they're balanced, they have to have at least 2, and most of the time they will have 3. If they're unbalanced or if we just don't know, the problem is they could easily have a singleton or maybe even a void in our suit, and a lot of the time they won't have 3 for us. So that's why we need a 6-card suit. So I hope that answered the question there. So let's have a look at another scenario, and this one's going to be a bit of a tricky one to deal with. And I'll give you a word of warning, we're probably looking for the least worst option here. And these are some times that we can get ourselves into problems. So let's say 1 spade was bid and we came back with 1 no trump with this hand. And that's because we have to. We've got 6 to 9 points. We can't bid a suit at the 1 level. If it came back and our partner bid 2 hearts, now you've got a really big problem. When partner bid 2 clubs, we could easily introduce our diamond suit. And what we could do is bid 2 diamonds. When our partner comes back and says 2 hearts, now we've got a really big problem. Most people will play this as forcing, so you're going to have to do something. If you don't play it as forcing, I'd still suggest that you make a bid here. But what are you going to bid? This is where we get a bit stuck. Do you want to go back to partner's spades or do you want to bid your diamonds? And these are the problems in bridge. This is why there is a bit of grey in this game. Now, if I bid my diamonds at the 3 level, I'm still saying the same sort of thing to partner. I'm still just 6 to 9 points and I have a fistful of diamonds for you. But the question is, do you want to be bidding 3 diamonds here? Now, the problem is when we were bidding 2 diamonds, we were still just at the 2 level. Partner could have 0, 1, 2, on a red a 3 diamonds, but we were just at the 2 level. If we were to bid 3 diamonds here, we've actually gone even a level higher. What I'd normally say is to bid 3 diamonds here, I'd want a 7-card suit ideally. This means that what I'd probably end up doing with this hand is actually bidding 2 spades. And this is just giving my partner a preference bid that I like their spades better than I like their hearts, and I don't have my own suit that I really want to be able to have as trumps. You'd want 7 of them because there's a reasonable likelihood that partner's going to have a singleton. You could do it on 6, but 7 would be better. Another way of looking at it is that in our spades, we're guaranteed we're going to have at least 7 of them together because partner's got 5 and I've got 2, so at least we've got 7. And we're still only playing at the 2 level at this stage. On the other hand, if I bid 3 diamonds myself, I could easily just have 6 of mine opposite 1 of theirs or even none of theirs. I'm not actually guaranteed that we even have 7 of them, and the problem is that we're a level higher in the bidding as well. So this is one of the jams that you do get yourself into, and a lot of the time it's about working out the least worst scenario here. So it's quite interesting how with one hand, just how the auction went has completely changed how we describe our hand. If partner opened 1 club, it was nice and easy. We could bid 1 diamond and then bid 2 diamonds. If partner opened a heart or a spade, we have a few more problems. We've got to start off bidding 1 no trump first, and then at our second bid, it depends what partner does. If partner bids 2 clubs, we can easily introduce our diamonds. If partner were to do something like this last auction here, where they do bid 1 spade and then 2 hearts, we've got a really big problem and we might never get to tell partner that we've got 6 diamonds, but what we have done is tried to look for the best possible solution for the partnership. So how the bidding goes can completely affect how you have to describe a hand. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, so here what we'll have is our partner opens the bidding with something like 1 diamond. And what are we going to do? Now we are in the 6 to 9 points, so we do have to, or 6 or more points, so we absolutely must make a bid. And we can't actually make a bid of 2 clubs because we need to have 10 or more points to describe our club suit here. So what are we going to do? This is a really interesting hand. I think you've actually got 2 options and it might be affected by what your partnership style is. Now the two options that I think you have are bidding one no trump, or alternatively raising your partner's diamonds with only 4 of them. And it'll depend on your partnership style. Now one no trump would say to your partner, I've got 6 to 9 points, I can't bid hearts, I can't bid spades, and I also can't raise your diamonds, whereas 2 diamonds would say I've got 6 to 9 points and I think diamonds should be trumps. So here's the problem we get ourselves into. Do we want to raise to 2 diamonds when partner could only have 3 of them? Now if you play a better minor system rather than a short club, it means that partner can have only 3 diamonds when they start off with a 1 diamond opening bid. Now, if you play this sort of style, I still don't mind raising on only 4 cards if you're in a little bit of a jam, like a hand like this. Now, the reason is there's only one hand shape where partner will only have 3 diamonds. Do you know what it is? The way we can work it out is that if partner only has 3 diamonds and they open 1 diamond, it has to be because their diamonds are longer than their clubs. So this means they've got 3 diamonds and they'd have to have 2 clubs to make their diamonds longer than their clubs. Now, if they've got 3 diamonds and 2 clubs, it means that there's 8 cards remaining between hearts and spades. And the only way they can be divided is 4 and 4, or else your partner would have opened with 1 heart or 1 spade. So what happens is the only hand shape, the absolute only hand shape that partner will have where they open 1 diamond and they've only got 3 of them is if they've got 4 spades, 4 hearts, 3 diamonds and 2 clubs. Any other hand shape they will have at least 4 diamonds, so odds are on that your partner will have 4 of them. So if you do want to raise with a 4 card suit when you are in a bit of a jam like this, I've got quite a bit of sympathy for it because most of the time you will have a fit with your partner. So there are 2 different options. We either want to bid a 1 no trump response, which says I can't raise diamonds, I can't bid hearts, and I can't bid spades, or alternatively raise to 2 diamonds even though we just have 4 of them. Now, if you did bid a 1 no trump bid here, it would depend on what your partner did. Your partner again might just pass this, and they do this anytime they just had a weak balanced hand. Now, if your partner did something else, they might do something like 2 clubs. And here you've got a bit of a decision to make. Now, if they did this, you'd know they had to have 5 diamonds and they also had to have 4 clubs. Or alternatively, they wouldn't have been able to open a diamond and then show 4 clubs, because with 4-4, they should have started off with 1 club first. So it means their diamonds must be longer. Now, what would happen here is that you'd have a good fit with your partner's clubs. You also know you've got a good fit with their diamonds as well. And what you'd want to do is raise their suit. So I'd just raise 2 clubs up to 3 clubs here. On the other hand, if your partner bid 2 diamonds, this would be a really interesting situation because they have shown that they've usually got 6 diamonds and they've just said their weak points, something like 12 to 14 or 15 for an opener. Now, even though you have 4 diamonds at this point and your partner doesn't know about that, you should still just pass. And that's because we know here that our partnership won't have enough for game. Partner's only got 12 to about sort of 14 or 15. So with our 7, we're not going to have enough for game. And believe me, when you put down this dummy, your partner will be very pleasantly surprised. It is possible that at this stage your opponents might compete in the auction. And if they did do something like this, you'd still be quite willing to compete to 3 diamonds knowing that you did have a good fit. But how the auction goes if your partner opens a diamond can be quite interesting. Now let's backtrack and say that partner actually started off with a major suit. So let's say they opened with something like 1 spade. What do we want to do here? We have to bid 1 no trump. We've got more than 6 points. We don't have our 10 points needed to bid a suit at the 2 level, so we must bid 1 no trump. When it comes back to our partner, what they're probably going to do, they could pass, but they might introduce a new suit. So they might introduce something like 2 diamonds or 2 clubs, and we've got to decide what we want to do. Now, we definitely want to raise our partner if they were to bid diamonds or clubs, and what we do is just raise them up to the 3 level. I've got 6 to 9 points, but I do have a fit with you. On the other hand, we get into a bit of trouble again if our partner bids something like 2 hearts. Here, we don't have a fit with either of their suits, but we still have to make a bid. This is where that preference idea comes in, where what we could do is we could now bid 2 spades to say, yes, partner, I do still have 6 to 9 points. I don't have 4 hearts for you. I'm just putting you back to spades because I have to do something. Now, a question was, why would I raise clubs rather than diamonds when I have at least 9 in both? And this came back to the auction that went something like this. It went 1 diamond, 1 no trump by me, and partner bid 2 clubs. Now, I've said that I've got a preference here for raising clubs rather than putting my partner back to diamonds, like something like this. Now, the reason for that is that if I raise clubs, my partner automatically knows that I absolutely must have a fit with them. So they know I must have 4 because I'm raising their 2 clubs all the way up to 3 clubs. If, on the other hand, I bid 2 diamonds, I could have a fit with them like I do today, but my partner can't necessarily guarantee I have a fit with them. So this could be a hand kind of like that preference idea where I had to go back to diamonds because I couldn't introduce my own suit and I couldn't raise their second suit. So here it'd basically be something like maybe I had 3 cards in both majors, and I've also got, it works out a little bit more awkward on this auction. I must have a fit with them just by the deduction that I didn't bid a heart or a spade. But it means it's not as obvious to my partner what suits I do and don't have a fit in. So because of that, being able to raise the second suit is usually a bit more preferable. So this is why I'd prefer raise clubs rather than just give that preference bid back, because the preference bid, this situation's a little bit more clear, but a lot of the time partner won't know if I actually have a fit for them or if I'm just giving them preference back to their first bid suit. So that's why I prefer raising the second one rather than actually just giving them the preference. Okay, let's have a look at another hand and see how we go with this one. So again, we've got a fistful of diamonds here and we've only got 7 points. So how are we going to go in this auction? Let's say the partner opens with a bid of 1 heart. What's our first bid going to be here? It's going to be 1 no trump. Now, the reason that I wanted to bring this sort of hand up is that it could be quite interesting for our partner here if they were sitting there looking at something like 5 hearts and also 4 spades. And would they want to introduce their spades? Now, one thing to note if your partner does bid 1 no trump is think about every suit that they have actually denied. So here, when I bid 1 no trump, I've denied 2 things. I've denied having a fit in hearts, so I can't have 3 of them, but I've also denied having a fit in, or having 4 spades. What it means is that for my partner to introduce spades, they either really need a good reason for it, or they might have something like 6 hearts and 5 spades. So if your partner's denied having a suit, generally what you won't do is introduce it unless you have a really good reason. Also, to bid 2 spades, my partner would be making a reversing bid and it would be forcing. So just as the opener, always think about what has partner denied when they actually bid 1 no trump. And what they've denied is they've denied a fit in any of the suits that you've shown, and they've also denied the ability to bid a new suit with 4 or more cards. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Alright, so here we have our partner open 1 spade and the bidding comes back around to you. And these are the situations where I often see people really hesitant to bid 1 no trump, especially when they have 6 cards in a major suit. But you have to do it because you can't bid your suit at the 2 level because that'll be promising too many points. So we have to start off with 1 no trump. Now when it comes back to our partner, they may just pass it there. There is a possibility that you're going to play in 1 no trump when you do have a fit somewhere else. That's just how it works. In bridge we only have 35 bids to describe our hand, and sometimes we don't get to the best possible position, but that's due to the limitations of our system. So what happens here is that we might play 1 no trump when we do have a fit in hearts. Alternatively, what we're going to find is that our partner a lot of the time will bid another 4 card suit if they have it. What would our next bid be here? Here what we could do is we could bid 2 hearts. Partner, I only had 6 to 9 points, but I do have 6 cards in hearts for you. And this would definitely be the bid that we'd like to make here. We are promising our partner 6, And that's because we couldn't just do it with 5, because we know when they've got 9 cards between 2 suits, it's pretty unlikely that they're going to have 3 card support for ours. So it always means that we are going to have 6. Let's have a look at what our partner might do. So my partner's options, they could pass, and they could do this if they had a weak hand and they just wanted to play in 2 hearts. So they know opposite my 6 to 9, they just want to play in a 2 heart contract. They don't want to go any higher. On the other hand, what they could do if they really didn't like hearts and they had an even more extreme hand shape, and this would basically only be when they did have a void in my suit, they could bid something like 3 clubs if they had an extra club, or 2 spades if they had an extra spade. But most of the time, if they're just a weak hand, they'll actually just pass 2 hearts. My partner's hand could improve though. What do you think something like 3 hearts would mean? Now, the first thing, partner would absolutely have to have a fit with us. So they'd only need 2 hearts to do this. And they should also be inviting us to game, and that's because they could have simply passed 2 hearts. So what it should mean if they did bid 3 hearts is, I do have 2 hearts for you, partner, and I know you've got 6 to 9 points, but I want to invite you to game. So it's their way of saying, if you've just got 6, I want you to pass, but if you're closer to 9 or 8 or 9, let's give 4 hearts a go. So how many points would partner need, or the 3 heart bidder, the opener, need to do this? We can work that out by what our maximum is. So our maximum is going to be sort of 8 or 9, and it basically means that with my partner's hand, what they're pretty much going to need is something like about sort of 16 points here to keep going in this auction. Another thing that happens though is that my hand as the responder, or the heart bidder's hand, is also always going to improve with a fit, and that's because it'll get to add on shortage points. So for instance, with this hand, you've only got 7 high card points, but you'll also get to add on a shortage point once your partner raises hearts, so I'd be bidding 4 hearts on this hand. So I guess what happens when you do respond with a 1 no trump bid after the opening bid is that it does put opener in a little bit of an awkward position, because you haven't been able to describe anything about your hand, other than the fact that you don't have a fit with partner suit, and you didn't have a 4 card suit that you could bid at the 1 level. Now, interestingly, if we go back to just having a look at some auctions, the more that we skip over, the more information that the opener has. And what I mean by this is that basically every time you skip over something, you are denying something about your hand. So the most descriptive bid is when it goes something like 1 club pass 1 no trump, because our responders skipped over bidding diamonds, skipped over bidding hearts, and skipped over bidding spades. On the other hand, an auction that goes 1 spade pass 1 no trump, here our responder hasn't had the ability to skip over anything. The only thing that they've denied is that they don't have 3 spades. What happens is the more that you skip over, the more descriptive your bids are. A lot of bridge is about what partner didn't do rather than what they did. Now, just to give you a quick little pop quiz, what did we know about the hand shape when it did go 1 club past 1 no trump? There's a lot that we know about this one. We know responder doesn't have 4 hearts, they don't have 4 spades, and they don't have 4 diamonds, because they could have bid that suit at the 1 level. We also know that they couldn't raise our clubs, so it means that they have a specific hand shape. Can you remember back to what it is? It's where they've actually got a 3 card suits in hearts, diamonds, and spades, and they've got 4 cards in clubs. And that's the only hand shape that can fit all these criteria. 6 to 9 points, can't bid a suit at the 1 level, and can't raise clubs as well. So the more that's skipped over, the more descriptive a bid is. Now, if you do have a really long suit, 6 or 7 cards in a suit, you don't need to be worried about bidding 1 no trump. So 1 spade past 1 no trump, I can still have a 6, a 7, even an 8 card suit here. But I have to make this 1 no trump bid if I don't have enough points to bid a suit at the 2 level. What you're going to be able to do later, if you have to play 1 no trump, you just have to play it and you are stuck there. Hopefully your hand's going to be worth just as many tricks in no trumps as it would be if that suit was trumps. On the other hand, if your partner does something else, this is your way of being able to describe your long suit to partner. where you've started off with a 1 no trump bid first, and at your second opportunity you introduce a suit. This is your way of saying to your partner, look, I only had that 6 to 9 points, but I do have a long suit of my own, and I want to play there potentially. And this way you haven't misdescribed your points. It's also not a forcing bid because you did describe you were 6 to 9 to start with. If you don't have your own long suit, your job is either to raise your partner's second suit if you've got 4, or alternatively just give them what's called this preference bid back to spades. Now, one of the most common things that I hear people saying in a situation like this is, but I can't bid 2 spades because I don't have a fit with partner. Now, you don't need to worry about that because when you bid 1 no trump the first time, you've already denied having 3 spades. So when you bid 2 spades the next time, you can't possibly have 3, or you would have raised the first time. And our opener needs to be aware of that. So 1 no trump responses, they are an interesting thing that you do come across, and it can be quite cringeworthy at times to actually have to bid 1 no trump, especially when you do have that own long suit of your own. And it just feels so wrong because you've got so many cards in the suit. But it's how we have to start the auction when we have 6 to 9 points and we can't bid a suit at the 1 level, and that's so that straight away our partner will know our point range, and that when we bid a suit later, it's because we've got a really long suit, but we didn't have enough points to actually bid it at the 2 level to start with. And the reason that we can't bid it at the 2 level is if we don't have 10 or more points, it can easily end up that we do get too high in our auction. So thanks all for watching. I hope this cleared up how you respond with 6 to 9 points when you can't bid a suit. And I hope it doesn't seem as cringeworthy now that you know how to cope with those hands when you do have to bid 1 no trump with your long suit of your own. See you next time. Bye.